Hello, hello, YouTube. Welcome in to another lovely Wednesday. Again, good morning, NASDAQ. We are here live. But again, I think most of you know the drill. Little live trade this morning. No going over the gap and craps. Maybe we'll trade some gap and craps. Maybe we'll trade some other stuff on our watches that we're about to go over. But yeah, a little bit different. A little bit. I was gonna say new. We've been doing this because we didn't start out this way. A little history lesson. We were doing just regular gap and craps or regular Good Morning Nasdaq for what? I don't know, a few months, a year.
Late.
Yeah, and then we decided
Well,
it's like, you know what? Let's give the people what they want. Let's do a little live trading on Wednesdays. So, anyways, welcome in, Dom. Good morning. How are we doing? How are we feeling?
uh, doing well. Midway point in the week. I kind of like realized yesterday. I felt like we were a lot deeper into September than we were. I think yesterday was kind of right around that halfway point. I think there's an odd number of days this month,
Mm-hmm.
but there's those 2 days hanging out at the end, which are like a Monday and Tuesday. So we still got what, 10 days left in September. So if it's not where you want it to be yet, if you've kind of struggled with the random choppiness, chaotic momentum we've had. I do think there's a good amount of plays in circulation right now. It's just about, nailing those, but there's still a lot of time left in September to get it figured out. Um, and we'll talk about it here today.
All right, I love it. But yeah, we are halfway. God, it's going quick, man. We're gonna blink and it's gonna be the end of the year. Um,
I know.
yeah, it's just going fast. But anyways, all right. Like, subscribe. Let's jump right in it. We'll go over a watch list. If we have a couple minutes, we'll answer some questions. Then the market's going to open, and then we'll take a break from questions for 5-10 minutes, like we usually do. And then we'll ask some more questions on the way out of here, and then we'll be out of here by 9:50, 10 a.m. Do you want to start us off, Dom, or would you like me to start us off?
I can. I got a
All
bunch of
right.
stuff kind of half to watch, a couple reversals right out of the gate, but just to get it out of the way, open, I'm watching just indefinitely until we're back like sub eight, holding sub 7.5. There's a lot of stuff happening today with FOMC expected rate cuts.
Mm-hmm.
All that to say, I don't know what any of that means. Let's be honest. But I was informed by Kyle there should be some volatility. Um, what's the SPY doing right now? Down a little bit. I can't help but think that's going to pull at some point today, just because the trend we've been into this has been up. Um, but I will continue to watch that one as I think we're kind of close to real blow off, or that was the move and it's going to fade. So I'm just going to keep an eye on that because I do think the risk reward on that stock mixed with the increased range now could be really, really good if you get a breakout over the tens. Um, that's kind of the third eye watch going forward. GPRO as well, where it technically sets up for it's technically a breakout going forward over the 240s area. I think this chart is kind of similar to open. It's been working its way up towards a big resistance level from earlier in the year, and volume isn't exactly where I would love it. It's definitely enough for it to move, but I'm watching this one just because I kind of think it's just kind of slowly trending higher, and even the most recent breakout ended up being quite lucrative. Tight risk from the 180s to the 240s is a pretty good move. So keep an eye on that one going forward. Um, Reversals on watch today. I think I just saw someone said that ATCH just had news, but that one was on watch as it had a move from 20 cents to over $1 and a red day yesterday that wasn't as big of a red day I think as most people wanted, a significant decrease in volume. We can take 2 seconds real quick to see what the news was.
News is
Um, they secured a $3 million financing.
so not an offering, but a
It's raised 3 million in gross proceeds through the issuance of promissory notes from strategic investors.
interesting.
Okay, so that's something, you probably won't see me just clicking buttons right out of the gate here, or right here in pre-market, but close enough. We're 6 minutes till the open. I will be watching that one as I would um, for a reversal. OPI also technically fits reversal criteria. Kind of had a more significant move down yesterday, but only slightly red after its move from 20 cents to over $1. Both of these, OPI, I think I would rather go lower first, but I will be watching it if it sets up because that's just kind of how I trade reversals. It's very black and white, not a whole lot of discretion there. CHEK is one that has had kind of a gap and crap on day one. Yesterday, inside that range on lower volume. Does that hold up and go higher, or does that fade off? I will be watching to find out today. And then AIRE, it's just kind of a back burner. If it doesn't fade off, bound down back towards dollar, and it pops back into the 140s, 150s and holds, I will be watching.
Beautiful. Yeah, a lot of these recent runners that have now not in play, but can continue to be in play. Unfortunately for me, nothing immediate today. I have Wolf on watch just because I think me and a lot of people love the fact that this failed yesterday. Because now there's, it's not a perfect double top, but it did clearly fail. Actually, if you look at the intraday chart yesterday, it failed almost late or almost perfectly midday, the 333 breakout right here. So it broke over it, but then this top right here topped out at 335. So you couldn't have almost asked for a better, secondary test and then fail and then go down. So 333, that those 330s are still a pretty significant level in my opinion. Don't think it happens today. Would prefer it doesn't happen today, but the longer it can consolidate and kind of creep its way back up, I think that breakout in the future will be nice. Again, nothing that's going to happen in the next 30 minutes. And if it does happen in the next 30 minutes, I probably won't buy it. It'll be too much too soon. But yeah, OPI, ATCH, I mean, again, I'm watching them, but I don't have any specific plays with them. Same thing with, again, yeah, OPI, that's an ATCH, right? But even this looks much stronger. The dynamic here, though, is that they have to release, not have to, but I should say have to. They have to announce or release their earnings by the end of this month, but in the PR, they say they will release earnings by the end of this month or sooner. And so I think that's why this held up better than expected yesterday, because the earnings are supposed to be good. I think they raised guidance, or they said how good their numbers are going to be, and they just have to release that filing. And they said by like September 29th or sooner. So that could come out any day now. So I think that's why it's holding up. There is SPRC, which is a gap and crap up 107%. I might short this, I might not. The only thing that gets me that wants to short it is that it has a history of failing pretty hard. Dilution tracker wise, I'm pretty sure they're always bad, which is why they continually fail. Let's just triple check. Yes, high across the board, not looking at or feeling good about it. If I was long, but again, I'm not. So we'll see. One thing I don't like is that it's losing its gap up percentage every minute I'm talking. It was up way, way higher in pre-market, and now we just keep kind of bleeding. If we bleed too much, I won't be interested, but hopefully it holds up around here or higher. Other than that, again, I have a bunch of swings on, but I've been in those for arguably days to weeks now, and I haven't been wanting to put any new swings on going into this FOMC because what we expect of the FOMC is priced in, but then how the market reacts, I think, is going to be a big tell. And again, it's going to be choppy, I think, no matter what. And so open, I don't need to be buying any or doing anything with open. I'm still long from the fours here. I have OKLO from, I forget where I longed it from like mid 70s. I have LEU from down here at like 212. We also have AMPX from like 750s. We have RR from 310. We have Iron from 26. And then we have, what's the other one? We have Wolf from, where is it? 980s. We also have TSLL Tesla from like 14. And I think that's all of them. And we have PSIX. PSIX, though, I'm roughly break even. I'm long from like 96 there. So if there's any one of them to get stopped out of, I would imagine it would be this one. But you get the point. I don't want to really put anything new on. I want the choppiness to kind of get us through this FOMC, and then we will move forward from there. But anyways, that's the market open. I'll keep ATCH up. And again, feel free to put your questions. We just won't get to them till another 5-10 minutes or so.
Yeah, when you have news on a reversal or something in pre-market, usually kind of makes it choppier and makes it harder for me to wait for some sort of consolidation. But Usually when it's only one red day, I try to be less aggressive and just getting involved, especially on this one because the breakout level is like 115 or something.
Hmm.
So if it does kind of do the reversal thing and pop right out of the gate and I miss it, there's still a world where if the volume's churning, I can treat it like a breakout. So I'm not going to rush in just in case that news is not perceived positively and it just kind of fuels the sell off. But
Hmm.
we'll see. Only up around 10% right now, so I'll let it breathe. If I miss it, I miss it. Reversals have been so bad that the last thing I want to do is just get involved in them before any consolidation.
Right. Let's see. Let me see if I should pre-borrow this sucker just in case I'm gonna short it out of SPRC.
Open trying to test that support like 875, but it did go to like 840 in pre-market.
Yeah, they released an 8K, and I think some people mistakenly thought that was like an offering, but it's not.
Snot.
It's not. Borrows aren't cheap for SPRC. Interesting. That's unlike this one. I usually thought this one was cheap. Open, nice. Let's spike back over 9. OPI is fading more. SPRC spiking a bit. Just a little. Nothing crazy. Open 920s there. Wow, sick. Yeah, and I'm interested to see what Open will do around the FOMC. Normally, you wouldn't care, but I specifically remember actually shorting Open on this fade here. I got short either on the 28th of July or the 29th of July on what I thought was this kind of, not breakdown, but this next leg lower to fade more. And it did go to, like 180s, and I was looking for 150s. But then on this day, on the August 1st, something, I forget what it was, whether it was a headline or it was an actual announcement from someone at the Fed, was pretty much, again, hinting at rate cuts coming. Or some economy numbers came out to like further prove like, hey, interest rates are on the way, and that's caused this to gap up and actually spike and then have this balance. And so from then on, I realized, hey, like people could be buying in anticipation of rate cuts, or just the company itself being part of real estate, or connected to real estate, makes it, interest rate sensitive. So we'll see what that actually does later today on it. Ooh, OPI losing it here. See, this is what I wanted yesterday, but I get why it didn't happen because it was sold off from 1 already, but man. I wish like this happened here, right? But I covered in this. I got bored, which is not the correct way to trade. I haven't done that in a while, but I was like, this thing's a nothing burger. Coulda, shoulda, would have maybe had a little more patience in me and then held till now, but it's not a big deal. I didn't have much size anyway. SBRC some more spiking, 440s. Anyways, feel free to throw in some questions. I still don't see any in the chat. Unless my chat's all glitching out. Let's double check. Not yet. No questions. All right. Have seen some chatter earlier in the room or in general about what, CWB? Or no, was it CWD?
WD.
Yeah. Former huge runner or gapper, right? It was a massive gapper. Has bled pretty consistently in the last week or so, and now we're actually gapping up. But nothing crazy so far.
You kidding me? Open.
Open 9, wow. 940. It's one of those things that the daily chart going into today where it's scary, where you've now set a lower high and now you're pressing against these lows, but also you have to wonder, it's like, why is it taking it 3 days to barely go, $1.50 off the highs, where it's like, if it was really going to die, it would be like this, where, in a day or two, it's already 60% off its highs. So it's interesting. But also, did this low just barely break, or did it perfectly double bottom? 881, 876, 876.5. Wow, got half a penny from the first red day's low. That's pretty impressive in terms of holding support.
I bought some ATCH at 97 there.
Nice move here.
Yeah, I'd probably be, if we straight up 120s, 130s, be a seller into that breakout and then reevaluate later if it was strong for a breakout. But kind of tried to hold the lows, and it did, and then quickly swiped to the high. So see if we can hold $1, kind of like this price area.
There we go, nice. 106. Market's pulling back a bit. QQQ is a little red. ATCH 110, nice. That's cool. SPRC 460s, 470s. Got some strength out the open here. Anyways, let me take a look at the chat. Nikita says open's gonna hurt Martin. Yeah, for those who don't know, and I date myself because I know this very easily, but some people don't, who are maybe weren't around then. Martin Shkreli, who it's not even a ticker anymore. KBIO. Can we just at least see the chart? There's a guy who worked in pharma. I believe he pretty much overcharged some drugs to insane amounts. But I think he bought KBIO, which at some point became KBIOQ. They might not even just have the chart. It sucks. I would like to show everyone. But again, essentially, it's so funny because nowadays people be like, so what? Who cares? But this was a squeezer before we've seen squeezers now. Yeah, the chart's not going to pop up. So like you see pre-market stuff or after-hour stuff happen all the time where some low float goes from $1 to $6 in like minutes, right? Back then, that was not normal. That was not a thing. And most people had not seen moves like that. And so I think he either bought KBIO or tweeted about KBIO, something where he tied himself to the company. And it went from 2 to 18 in all of after hours. And I think this was like 2013, 2014. It was before my time trading, but I learned about it when I started trading because it was only a couple years after. But yeah, huge move. And so now people kind of remember that about him. And I think he went to jail at some point, then he got out, and now he's still rich from his previous business ventures. And so now he's pretty public on Twitter about what he trades and what he's short. And so he shorted open yesterday at like 930s, forgive me, 930s. And so I think he's also short like quantum. But
Market manipulation. Short in the morning and then alert it when it's spiking in the afternoon to your average.
Yeah, shorting or alerted hours later. But I'm pretty sure if he hasn't, I mean, I don't follow him, so I don't know if he's updated anyone on his positions. But for a long time, he was very bearish on quantum, and if he still has those positions, he's not doing too hot because INOQ is just nonstop green days for a week straight now. What do the others look like? RGTI, yeah, strong. QBTS. Also strong. I think the lagger is QUBT. Yeah, this one's not doing much, but pretty impressive. So, for those who want to know Nikita's comment about open and squeezing Martin, is because he got squeezed on quantum. So, just maybe he's going to join the party for open. Grant says, Kyle, you mentioned the other day on Twitter wanting to be long biased over the next few years. What are some of the setups on the long side that you plan on to attack? Again, it's more, well, the one I tweeted about Wolf was just a really sick breakout. I mean, that worked really, really well. And I'm hoping it works out again, because if it works out again, it'll be another hopefully nice gain. But that's the trend I've been seeing the last few months for me. As the more I've gotten into swing trading, specifically Kuomagi style swing trading, that was part, I guess, it wasn't mentioned because again, it's beyond the scope of a 20-word tweet, right? But like, that has started to make me a lot of money to the point where I could see that becoming the primary, engine to that money making process. And I think because I got better at swing trading, it allowed me to kind of capture this gain on a Wolf. I think if you had me try to buy this breakout on Wolf, I don't know, even 2 years ago, I wouldn't even have made a fraction of what I made on it on Monday. So in general, and specifically on swing trading, that's going to be the main driver for sure. SPRC, look at this. 6. Didn't I say 470s last time? It's $5 almost $1.50 a share in like 5 minutes. Holy moly. Now it's halting up, 619. No, back down. Jeez Louise. I borrowed some, but I might not have to use it. We'll find out. This is crazy. Because although it's crapped itself many times, I mean, you get moves like this where it opened up at, I think they did a reverse split, maybe they didn't, but opens up at 21, goes as high as 37, and then closes back down at 23 or 22 and a half. So quite the range when this gets going. So we'll see what happens here. ATCH 110, nice job, Doms, holding well. Mark says, I look forward to the day when I can be as calm as y'all trading these tickers. I'm getting there slowly. Yep, that's what happens. Don't feel like you got to do it quickly. Again, you're looking at me and Dom doing it in year 9 and 10. We're talking watching when you break down the numbers, you then see how repetition like really kind of creates such a level of experience that couldn't happen other than just being there over that period of time. Like again, 9-10 years is a long time, but then you break it down to how many like market opens we've been through, and there's like arguably 250 opens every single year if you're trading every single day. So we're now talking thousands of times we have just watched the open, thousands of trades we've taken, thousands of emotions felt, and then handled them in real time. So yeah, you'll get there, but just don't feel like it has to be tomorrow, right? Like it took years for me to get some level of calmness to where my heart wasn't pounding out the open. So
Yeah, and you learn, I don't know, you just kind of learn where you're supposed to be looking. I feel like for a while out of the gate, you're just kind of watching the gappers, and then someone brings something up in a chat room, and once you kind of learn where your eyes are supposed to be, um, it becomes easy because you're like, okay, I just have to watch these 3 stocks, and if they do this thing I'm looking for, then I'll buy or I'll short.
Mhm.
I long GoPro as well.
G Pro, let's see. Oh, cute little pop.
40s.
I like that this is running on its own. I
I know.
I
That's what
longed it.
like the last day when open was down and it went up or held
Yeah.
up. I was like,
Because I think you and I both bought around this 180s level as a breakout, and I was thinking it was going to follow open because open was kind of just going nuts, right? And then the next day open was red, and so there's like this little stall out candle that I sold G Pro for because I just thought to myself, I thought I was going to do more of a this move where runs up with open, and then when open goes nuts, G Pro gaps, a dollar plus a share kind of idea. So I was hoping like if this was going to go, it's going to close at 2, open at like 253, and then I would just take my profits. But when this was barely gapping up and actually going red, and open was red, I was like, yeah, like let's just protect myself. But man, what a hold, and now a continuation of its own, which is great. Higher the better here. Kind of get of a mind of its own. The other ones, the other previous open sympathies have just not done much. I think KSSS or Coles. Coles is cute, not running as much, but is still slightly uptrending. But then there was also D Nut, Krispy Kreme, doing absolutely nothing. Right, had the same look as G Pro, where I had a gap up, but since then has just bled right back, unfortunately. What?
ATCH trying to consolidate, pulled back and held at 98 cents, right around a dollar. Got resistance though into this 110 area from, I think this was your risk, right? A couple days ago.
Yeah, it's got the
So
good.
I think over 110, there's a good shot at 120s, 130s. If it breaks down, it's just kind of a failed reversal and failed into resistance.
Yeah. Yeah, significant lower high there. The real high is, well, the all-time high was like 118, but had some trouble here in the 110, 111, 112 area on the top day.
Pro speeding up a bit. Volume just not that great there. Here we go. ATCH trying new high a day.
112. Them getting a financing is kind of the right way to do it, where it's like it's not an offering. It's like, hey, we're just getting investors on board. And it's like, wait, so it's not dilutive? And then here it goes, trying to break out.
Still need to see what is that high. Yeah, like 117. GoPro speeding up a bit. Straight into three, and I'm likely donezo there. Kind of a quick 3-day breakout. Open back to 950. Last thing we need is that to set up in low tens before FOMC or something. If it makes sense, I was positioned yesterday around 9.
ATCH 115. I feel like I'm long, but I'm not. It's fun watching this thing go.
I'll probably sell a piece right into the breakout level if we get there, but decent volume already, 22 million, not mouth-watering, but for reversal, plenty
Yeah.
for 20 minutes into the day.
Yeah, pretty solid move.
If I think 120 or 130, that means this is probably your high right here. That's just how it goes.
SPRC back down now. That kind of was a good entry. I wasn't really watching it there. There's also this low here. And that one. We'll see. What else? Let's take a look at the chat. Kai, what makes you want to switch to swing trading and you are going to ditch short selling strategies like first rated gappers? I mean, I'm never going to ditch them. I would just not probably prioritize them, or I'd only take the ones that are just really freaking good that happen, once a month or once a quarter kind of thing. And the reason being is, again, back to the tweet that I think we're all referring to, is that, like, again, I made $60,000 on Wolf. Like, And that was the most just average breakout that you like. There's nothing special about this, right? I mean, it was a good breakout. Don't get me wrong, obviously, but there's a top here at 2, gaps up on getting out of bankruptcy and tops out at 2. I buy it at 2 on the 12th, and a day later I'm able to sell it at 3. Right? Like there's nothing just screaming A plus about this. There's nothing that like, oh my gosh, I cannot miss this breakout. This is just a standard breakout on a former runner with good news. And I'm making 60K on a short. It has to be a pretty damn good short. Most average, like again, if you subscribe, you don't have to subscribe to this, but if you are a fan or at least acknowledge that I am a grader, so I'll do C, B, A plus kind of thing. Again, and because most shorts, I mean, for me are like barely making 2 to 1, 3 to 1. Maybe if the setup is just insanely good, you can make 4 or 5 to 1, but it's rare. So you do the math, like okay, on any A or A plus setup, I have to risk anywhere between 15 to 30K to get from anywhere from 2 to 1 to 4 to 1 on that setup to then make 60K. You know what I mean? Like, and I'm saying A or A plus because if I'm risking B, my B grade risk is like 12K, 13K, which I guess is the 4 to 1, right? But like, I'm rarely getting 4 to 1 on first red days. So like to get me a gain on the short side of that size, it's got to be a pretty good short, or it's got to be pretty good enough to where I feel aggressive enough to even take that level of risk in the first place, to then get a decent but average risk reward to lead to that kind of a gain. So naturally, my brain goes like, which one's going to really create outsized gains, over the long run? Probably on the long side, right? But again, doesn't mean I won't stop shorting them. I still love shorting, first red days, especially when you get like the mother of all first red days, like an MSTR or an SMCI, or a DJT, right? You get these big daily charts, like they're still fantastic. Or even Wolf. Wolf here was a great one. I think I made like 50 or 60K over 2 trades. I think I made 30K on this day, and then another like 20 or so K on one of these red days. So like, it's still out there. So I will never stop trading them. They're just not going to become maybe the primary driver to what makes me money.
ATCH failed right to the breakout level and retraced almost everything.
You gotta love that. Yeah, a little double top for now.
That's how it's been lately for me. It's like not only am I like missing, I'm just a little bit above. Like it stopped short of where I want it to go.
Mm-hmm.
There's no like secondary way to get out for any profit. It's just like, nope, we're going to take all of it away right now. And, and so you're kind of left with like the only thing you could have done is plan for a different profit target. But it's like I got a little piece off at like 116, and then it's just like, okay, almost back down to all the way to your entry. And it's like been a frustrating for that, but it is a pretty key resistance level. Is what's kind of tricky about the reversal slash breakout when they're so close. The pattern is so close to each other.
you know, um, but anyways, keep talking. I'll be back in 30 seconds. Hold on.
Open, pushing on 10. Super frustrating there. You Clovers know I kind of had a big picture idea play around 9 yesterday. Did go lower and after or pre-market this morning, so I probably would have been stopped anyway, but right idea buying into support, but not this time for me. GoPro pulling back.
We back. What'd I miss? Open 988. Wow.
It's so frustrating.
Just been choppy, dude. It's crazy.
It's so funny. The stronger open is, GoPro weaker. It's like can't put a pin on them.
It's a little odd. Anyways, a couple more questions, and then we will get on out of here. Let's see. JC says, can you talk about opening an LLC or S corp in a future video? I would say no, because we're not experts on, like, I paid someone to open it for me. You know, like I don't know the beginning first process of doing it. I paid someone to do that for me, and then just gave me my papers and then said, here, you have an LLC. I said, okay, great, thanks. So we would not be qualified to be speaking on that. Plenty of resources online of people who know what they're talking about.
Dude, I'm so sick of this market.
It looked great, and then it changed really quickly on you, which is infuriating.
GoPro's just gonna go
Just
10,
round trip
15
it.
cents past the break of level and then go break low a day
Yeah.
while open's ripping. Open has to stop me out, and then the next morning, all good to go.
Good old Shkreli had to throw a wrench in your plans there. SPRC, I haven't looked at it till I got back here. I unfortunately just missed that low, but maybe it's worth shorting this low. Almost like a perfect double bottom right now so far. That's annoying because, again, missed that one and then missed this one, and then, okay, now we're left with this possible last spot, just maybe. But anyways, guys, if I don't see any more questions here, which I don't, we'll wrap it up here. Again, Wine Wednesday tonight, 7 p.m. Eastern. Should be just Domini again, but Huddy gets back, I think, on Friday. So, yeah, he'll be back, and then we'll be back to regular schedule next week.
What was the question? Sorry, everything sucks.
No, there's no question. I was just saying, letting them know Huddy will be back on Friday, and so we'll be back next week to regular schedule. Go to NASDAQ, but for now, Wine Wednesday tonight, just Domini. And if you didn't get your questions asked or answered just now, feel free to join us then tonight and can ask us there. So anyway, guys, thanks so much. Have a great rest of your Wednesday. Stay safe out there, manage some risks, and we'll catch you guys later. Peace out, everybody. Bye.